Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode number 41 of the Audible Farm Podcast. This week's episode is brought to you by Couchtown Coffee. I'll tell you what, if there's anything that's been fueling me to do all of the things I've been doing over the last handful of years, whether it be I've got a new job, I graduated college, I went back to college, I was running social media for a portion of the college there for a while. I got a podcast now, I'm in some bands, I'm going to jam nights, I'm giving guitar lessons. If there's anything that's been fueling me to do all of this stuff, it's coffee. Very seriously. I take my coffee about as seriously as I can take anything these days. I'll tell you what, every morning I'm a coffee guy. Sometimes I go for the afternoon coffee. And I'll tell you what, I've done evening coffee as well. And I'll tell you what, there's probably nothing better than a nice fresh cup of coffee. And I was looking for probably the freshest coffee I could get, so I put out a few messages here and there, and I got a hold of Couchtown Coffee, and they pretty much guaranteed me the freshest coffee I could imagine. So I was in the neighborhood. They're located in Ankeny, and I was in the neighborhood, and I said, you know what? I'm going to swing down, and I'll see what you guys got going on, and I'll just pick it up while I'm down there. It'll kind of save you guys the shipping cost, and it'll be kind of nice. We'll see what's going on. And I stopped down there, and he roasted the coffee right in front of me. It was the coolest thing ever. Andrew Chipman, the owner and roaster there, just roasted the coffee right in front of me, and I got to watch him do his whole thing. It was super cool. I did not know I was going to get that treat when I showed up, so it was really awesome. And I'll tell you what, the coffee is amazing. I've been drinking it the last couple days. It is absolutely amazing. Nothing's better than I was drinking coffee and it's like, man, this coffee was roasted less than a day ago. It's just like when I thought about that, I was drinking it. I was just so proud. I was like, you guys, this coffee's so good. And it's like, I'm not going to share any. Oh, man. Couchtown Coffee, guys. I'll tell you what, there's links below. You can order it online. He will roast it to your specifications. I like dark roast, but if you like a light roast, he can do a light roast too. You just go to their website. It's www.couchtowncoffee.com. They have a Facebook page as well. And if you go down there to their website, there is an Our Coffees section, and you can see what kind of coffee they're offering, and then shoot them an email or a message of some sort and let them know what kind of coffee you want. Start your day off local with Couchtown Coffee. This week's guest is Gabe Gonzalez. Gabe is a vocalist for a handful of bands. Actually, we played a show with him in Three Finger Betty, and it was so fun to watch him. He was playing for the band Full Sequence. He's, like I said, he's the vocalist, and they are a hoot to watch. And he's also the vocalist for Pain of Evolution. And I've never actually seen Pain of Evolution live, but he gave us a pretty good rundown of it in the podcast. As a matter of fact, he gave us a really good rundown of it in the podcast, but my batteries ran dead, and then I didn't start the recorder again. So I had a huge flub in this podcast, but we ended up doubling back and talking about it again. And Gabe is very knowledgeable. I didn't know he had a radio show when he was in high school doing pretty much exactly what I'm doing right now. And that, to me, that's just insanity to have that confidence when you're in high school to do that kind of thing. So huge hats off to Gabe for being one of the pioneers in the local community and doing what he's doing. Go check out his bands. There's links to those down below. The podcast, like I said, you'll hear a little chop in the middle, but it's a great conversation. It's tough to find out where to end these things. Sometimes I just want to keep going, and other times, it just ends where it ends, and I try to shoot for about an hour, and sometimes there's more. Had we recorded the whole thing, who knows how long it could have been, because we lost about a half an hour worth of conversation. So hats off to Gabe for sitting down with me, and we made it happen, Gabe. I'm really happy we got to sit down and chat together. So this is episode number 41 with Gabe Gonzalez.
It's the Audible Farm Podcast with your host, Peter Stockdale.
All right, sitting down today with Gabe Gonzalez. Gabe, correct. We got it. We nailed it.
Yep.
For some reason, that's always like the most nerve-wracking part of the whole thing was like, all right, this person, got to get the name right, got to get the appointment correct. Got it. Gabe Gonzalez. We've been trying to kind of get together here and there, but my trips down to Des Moines have been quite a bit more infrequent than usual. So this was something that actually I was gonna be actually I had made a plan to go to like the Ankeny area, so I was like, all right, we're gonna do it this time. We're getting it done.
Right.
Yep. So we've actually played a show together once before. You were in the band Full Sequence, still are in the band Full Sequence. Yes. Singer. Sound right?
That's correct.
Do you ever play any instruments?
I got stupid fingers and no rhythm.
Stupid, but you got enough rhythm to sing.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, why doesn't that translate to your fingers? I guess
I don't know.
I don't know.
Can't fret for nothing.
What about smacking stuff? You ever try and play the drums?
Custom percussion.
Custom percussion.
Can't keep a beat for more than like 10 seconds.
Yeah.
But I can hit stuff.
Yeah.
So that works.
Do you guys ever do any like custom percussion stuff? And like, I'm not trying to like kind of like the Slipknot keg smashing or like anything kind of like that. Do you do some of that stuff?
No. We don't.
No. Oh, bummer. Yeah, I remember it was Rounds of Palooza. We were discussing it a little bit before we got on the interview here, but Rounds of Palooza last year would have been 2018. You actually remember it was in September. I have a terrible time remembering when things are, but it's
I'm pretty sure it was September.
Yeah, I think you're right. Actually, now like it's one of those things when somebody says something, it jogs my memory, and I'm like, oh yeah. So yeah, we ended up playing a show together, and that was my first time seeing you guys play. That was a heck of a show. What would you call Full Sequence as far as like it's tough to genreize? I feel a lot of the bands like you, us being Three Finger Betty, you being Full Sequence, like Sexually Aggressive Silverbacks, another one that's kind of tough to be like they're this genre.
Right.
But what would you say?
We've always kind of described ourselves as like an alt rock.
Yeah.
Just because it kind of covers a wide variety of what we do, because we've got the rock element, a little bit of metal, a little bit of punk,
Yep,
a little bit of blues,
yep.
But alt rock seems like the easiest description.
Yeah, that's it. And I feel like those are some of the best combinations of music ever, because it takes like the most popular things that everybody likes anyways, and it tosses like a little bit of that into there, almost like you're making a soup, and it's like, well, everybody likes potatoes in soup, so let's just chuck a couple potatoes in here,
Right.
So is that just like how the cards kind of fell, or was it a planned out thing, or
it was a little bit of both.
Yeah,
it was planned to be in that alt rock genre or vein. I'm a big Seether fan.
Nice, yeah.
And I've always wanted to do something a little Seether-esque.
Yeah.
But not like just a knockoff, rip-off type thing. Because like I've always done the metal stuff around here, and I still do with Pain of Evolution. So I got the two bands. And so with this one, I wanted to do a little lighter.
Yep.
And have a little more freedom with what the overall sound was.
Yeah. I mean, I totally get you, because the metal thing, we're in Des Moines. Metal's very popular here, and just making a straight metal band, you're gonna gather some attention and some fans just being on the metal thing. Is it just something you wanted to branch out a little bit to get to that thing, to try not to just only hole yourself up in one genre and call it just metal, and because I mean, like, metal does have a lot of, you can call yourself just metal, but then again, we can also subgenre metal out to the point where it gets pretty crazy.
I mean, with PoE, we do, like, I guess, death, sludge, and thrash.
Yep.
But I just like it just to call it metal. I don't like all the subgenres. I never have.
Yeah, I totally get what you're saying, because even some people will subgenre stuff in fashions that I wouldn't subgenre things in. I don't know, like the sludge is one that I don't necessarily care for, because even that is too wide to call it one thing, because and there's some sludge bands I like and some I don't like, so it's tough when you're just like, well, it's a sludge band, and same thing with thrash. I mean, there's some thrash bands I don't like, even though that's probably my favorite genre of metal, maybe, I guess. That'd be talking like your Metallicas and Megadeths and Anthraxes old school and thrash, stuff. Yep.
Yeah. That's it's so hard to use those terms, so I just look at it as you're a metal band, you're a punk band, you're a rock band.
Yep.
It's just easier for me anyway to kind of go that route.
Yep. I totally get you, because that's like in Three Finger Betty, we just call ourselves a punk band for the most part. It's easiest to be like, it's punk, and people are like, yeah, I get it, so.
Yeah, I mean, because somebody will ask you, what do you sound like? Well, we kind of sound like this, but we kind of sound like this. They don't want to hear that. They just want to know, are you punk, are you rock, are you metal?
Yep. Yeah, exactly. I totally get you on that too, because if somebody was to ask, I don't think anybody's ever been more spot on about that. Like a random person on the street asking you what your band sounds like. They just want the general gist. They don't want like a 5-minute explanation. And well, we got a tiny bit of this, and one of our guitarists likes this band, and yeah, it totally makes sense. I like that a lot. You said Pain of Evolution was the other band, which I don't know if I've ever seen you play with Pain of Evolution. I'm not sure.
I know we haven't played together. I don't know. We've been a little sporadic the last couple of years with shows. We've had some member changes and nothing bad, just some member changes and trying to get back. We last played, I know you had Kobe from the Astor Bastards.
Yeah.
Shortly before the Valentine's Day Massacre this year, which we played, both of my bands played on. They played on Callous,
cool.
Section 8.
Yeah.
That was the one, 18 bands, 3 days, art show, drag show, rope demonstration, hula hoopers.
Yeah, it was like everything you could think of was
rappers. I'm sure there's some spoken word stuff going on.
Yeah, and that stuff's awesome. I love that kind of stuff.
Yeah, that's the last show POE's done, but we're making our return at Hall Avenue on July 20th.
Nice, cool. July 20th at Hull. So everybody bookmark your calendars for that one. I'm sure that's a Facebook event page.
Yeah, we've got that up there. It's under the title, Shh, We're Back.
That's awesome.
And then Full Sequence, we're playing Fort Dodge, July 13th.
Oh, cool. Where at?
Eagles Landing.
Nice. That's cool.
With Gear Down.
Cool.
And Devil in the Hall.
Oh, that's awesome. I'll have to try and check that one out. I've been talking with one of the guys from Gear Down, trying to get a podcast down with him. So yeah, that'll be sweet. I'll have to go up to that show and check it out if I got the time.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I've played Eagles Landing before, because I've played in Fort Dodge a lot back when I was in a band called As I Decay in the mid 2000s, like 2004 to 2006.
Yeah.
I know there was a place up there called Spanky's that we played a lot.
Yep, and that would be the same location, I believe. I think Spanky's is the second floor.
Yeah,
of the
it was
Eagles
like the
Club.
second floor. I think the Eagles was the top.
Yeah,
floor.
the Eagles Landing was the top floor. I think they
Yeah.
used to call it. And I don't know. And that's the thing. I haven't been there so much, so I think it's the same place. I think it's the second floor of the Eagles Club.
I think so, but I'm not 100% sure. If it is, it's gonna be awesome. 'Cause it's gonna be nostalgia for me.
Yeah, that place is cool. I loved going there and watching shows back in the day. They used to have a ton of shows there, and then every now and then they throw shows on the top floor.
I played once up top.
Oh, sweet. What was the show that you played up top for? Do you remember?
It was As I Decay, Crucible, Albino Spiders, I want to say, and I'm pretty sure there was someone else, and I can't remember.
You just booked the top floor and played up there?
I didn't book the show. I didn't do the booking back then. I think Crucible did the booking on that show.
That's cool.
And I think it was I don't know how it landed to be up there, but
yeah, I know that some of that is like you got to rent the top floor. I think. I don't think they just like book bands and have them play up there on the weekends.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
I'm not 100% sure how that works. But that's cool that you played up on the top floor. That's cool because I've been up there to a couple shows and it's always a baller time.
No, yeah, it was a good show. I remember it being really fun, good crowd.
Mm-hmm.
I loved playing Fort Dodge. I'm happy to be going up there again.
Yeah, that's up in my neck of the woods, man.
And I got friends still up there in Fort Dodge, and I know a couple of them have already gotten a hold of me saying, "You're coming to Fort Dodge to play?" I'm like, yeah.
Yep.
Say, all right, I'm gonna make sure I'm there. I'm like, good.
That's cool, man. That's super cool. I'll have to try and check that show out. That's gonna be tons of fun. That's what day was that again? Let's remind them. Remember?
July 13th for the Fort Dodge show for Full Sequence.
All right, so that's a Full Sequence show up there.
Yep.
And that's on your Facebook page, I'm sure.
Yep.
Do you know your Facebook handle off the top of your head for your Facebook page? I know if you search for Full Sequence, it's an F and an S.
Yeah.
It's your
DNA
guys'
Helix logo thing going on there.
Yeah.
I want to say it's Full Sequence Band.
I'm gonna try and race my internet here and see if I can find it. But yeah, I just wanted to. I'm sure I'm gonna share it down below, and it's I almost always share every single thing down below. But all right, there's your band Full Sequence. Yep. Come on, yeah.
Yeah, it looks like at Full Sequence Band is the
perfect. So yeah, there it is. Yep. So if you go to @FullSequenceBand on Facebook, there you are. I know you guys have Instagram and or Twitter as well. You know, so you got the full gambit of the big three. You know.
Yep. Both bands are on Instagram. Both bands are on Facebook, and both bands are on Twitter.
So you know what that means. The links to all of that stuff is going to be down below. So if you want to check out the shows, I'm sure they're do their due diligence just like the rest of us in the cyber world, and we share our band shows and things like that. So make sure you check it out for the shows.
Yeah, definitely try to share them as much as we can on there. I run all the pages. So.
Yeah. Dude, sometimes stuff will fall through the cracks and you're like, oops, I forgot to tag this on my band's page or something like that. Or
it's usually Twitter. Twitter's the one I usually forget to update.
Bingo.
That's the one that I sometimes will slip on.
Yeah, and I'm pretty bad at that too.
Facebook I'm really good about, and Instagram I just kind of put up like show flyers and stuff like that.
Yeah, I'm always trying to figure out what would be the best way to do most things. Like Twitter is a good way to just kind of blab about nothing, and Instagram is a good place to be succinct. I feel like would be the best attack. Like you said, show flyers. Maybe like here's 5 or 6 pictures from the show from the last flyer.
Yeah,
you know, something like that.
Then promo for pictures.
Yep. Then you can give the person who took the pictures some props for that kind of stuff. It's kind of nice to give everyone the rub, you know.
Yep. It's also probably pretty good for get new merch in.
Oh yeah.
Shirts or hats, whatever.
I've been recently getting a little bit more into Instagram and trying to fancy up the Audible Farm page, but it is what it is.
It takes time to get used to it all and put it together.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like I got pretty good at Facebook, and then I was just like, man, now I got to get good at something else, because I used to spend a lot of time on Twitter with my personal account. Nowadays, I don't spend so much time on social media, I guess, at all anymore. I do my best to kind of get in contact with people. Like you and I were going through email for a while, and then it was just like, all right, here's my number, send me a message. This is going to be so much easier now that it's getting close, because it's like we would miss each other's emails by a day. Like I'd send you one, and the next day you'd send me one, and then I'd wait like 2 days and send something back, and then you'd send one back the next day, and it was like, oh man. So, I am active on social media, but it's tough. It's tough to keep everything up to date all the time.
Yeah. It is very hard. And I work overnight, so.
Oh, man. Yeah. Gosh, that's got to be rough.
I love it, but it's hard to keep in contact with people sometimes and get things situated, because it's like, oh, I worked this night, so that means I'm going to be tired this day. And,
yeah, totally.
But make it work.
Yeah. I mean, you've always been like the whole time we've been in communication. You've been really good about trying to make your schedule work out with mine, which is I'm very thankful for, because I'm not down here all the time, and you aren't always up in my neck of the woods. So we had to try and find that perfect time to make it work. And even as we're sitting here, there's a wrestling pay-per-view that's going to be on here, and oh man, I love me some wrestling, and it's going to be fun to get a glimpse into what's going on here, but. You were talking to me a little bit before the podcast, before we started interviewing, that you had actually done some interviewing yourself in the past.
Yep.
Yeah. So you said you actually worked for a radio station, or at least were a DJ of some sort. What was the deal?
Back in high school.
Nice.
Central Campus, KDPS 88.1. There's a plug for the radio channel, because it's still active, both the Central Campus, and then it's connected to Grandview College. Uses that station as well.
Oh, cool.
But in high school, I was in the radio, film, TV class, and we got our own radio shows.
That's cool.
And so my senior year, I spent exclusively playing and promoting local music.
That's awesome, dude.
And I would have local bands in pretty much every Monday, because that was like the interview day. And unlike going on name redacted local shows, where you get to talk for a minute and then that's it.
Mm-hmm.
You're not actually being asked anything or getting to say anything.
Yeah, somebody's just like, well, where's the show going to be at this weekend? And you're like, well, we're going to be playing at the Hole. And they're like, that's a good idea. We're going to be playing at the Hole. All right. Then on to the next thing.
15 minutes of music, and then maybe you get to say hi before this show's over.
Yep.
What I used to do, because we had certain things we had to read, PSAs or whatever.
Yep.
But you do the weather updates at the top of the hour, but whatever. So I would ask them questions and be like, just talk. promote yourself.
Yeah.
Tell the people that are listening.
Yeah, exactly.
And we had, back then, bands like Callous, Albino Spiders, Only.
Yep.
We had a band that came all the way from Cedar Rapids. They couldn't even hear the show out there.
Oh, wow.
But they drove 2 hours to come out, be on a 2-hour radio show to promote themselves here. They were 30 Seconds of Shame.
Cool.
Badass band.
That's cool.
I loved those guys. We had Devil with Cheese on there.
You say double cheese?
Devil with Cheese.
Devil cheese?
Yeah, Devil with Cheese.
That's crazy. That's a fun band name.
Who else was on there? There were so many of them. There were rappers on there like 999.
Cool.
We had Kaiser on there. Slaughterhouse 6, the ska band from back then. Just so many different bands that I was able to get on the show, let them do their thing. I know we had Phase Cage, Ephraim Zen.
Yep. Did you ever have anybody like play on the show, or was it just them talking for the most part?
Albino Spiders did do a live acoustic song one of the times they were there, and then we were supposed to do a live Callous performance, and it did not work out. Someone couldn't be there that night, so we still technically had a live performance. They recorded their practice and made it sound like they were talking on air in between songs, and so cool. We just played the CD of.
Oh, that's actually pretty cool.
But played it off as it being live.
Yeah. So, oh man, through the wonders of technology.
Somewhere around here, I have the recording, I believe, of that.
That's awesome.
Still, and the Albino Spiders live song.
That's friggin' sweet, man. I've debated whether or not to try something like that if somebody wanted to like come to my, because I've got like a mini studio at my house. It's like nothing more than like this. It's just a room in the basement that I've set up some stuff, and I mean mine's just got like I've got an amp in the corner, and I've got a drum set in the other corner, and there's a bass amp and a cheap one of everything. But if somebody wants to come over, they can beat up on the cheap stuff and all. I've been debating trying to do something like that. It does take a little bit of setup though. So that's probably the benefit you had like that there at the school already.
Yeah, we had a big like TV studio type room that we were going to set them up in, and we had the mics and everything. And the teacher, I should say, who was the sound engineer for it back then, was there, and he was prepared to run everything and make it all work. Like it was all cleared to happen. It just didn't work out the way we wanted it to. But it still came off great, and people loved it anyway.
And that happens. That is also the difficult thing about that is sometimes you can't get every band member to commit to something that's not actually a show. And it's super tough to get everybody to wrangle them all up. That's one of the fears I always had, where it's like, man, if I do invite some people over here, is it just going to be a shell of what they're going to do, or am I even going to do them any justice recording it and trying to pass it off? So I've been very hesitant of doing that because I'm not super privy to recording bands. Like you said, you had an engineer with you there, and sometimes it takes that. I would almost be more comfortable if there was another person sitting around twisting some ones and twos sometimes. But that's also wild. You had that in high school, because when we were in high school, we did have like a video/radio production thing, but it was also centralized, and you just like recorded everything on a cassette tape, and we're just like, this is me on the radio, and it's like, it's not though, but it wasn't anything super cool. But our college had one, the one in Fort Dodge, and that was also 88.1 as well.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's like, is that chosen for most college stations, or what's the deal with that? I
don't know how that works out, but I know, actually, you bring that up, I was on that radio as a guest when I was in Ankeny.
No kidding. That's awesome.
Before a show, we got asked to go up there and talk on the radio promoting the show, and they like had a ripped copy of one of our songs or something. I can't remember where they got it from, But they had like one of our songs. They played it too, and I was like, "Where did you get that?"
That's awesome. That's really cool, man. I mean, I recently just graduated from Iowa Central, not from like production of any sort. I did accounting, but whatever. It's rock and roll. But I was always like really intrigued by that. I'd get to walk by the people in the booth and listening to them on the radio and stuff like that. I still remember being a youngster. This would have been maybe about 10 to 15 years ago, just like staying up late at night listening to 88.1 The Point, and you'd have like college kids and you'd just be like, oh, these guys are on the radio, it's so cool, and they're talking about stuff that's going on in town. And I did a podcast with Eric Nelson a handful of weeks back. I was probably like episode 10 or something by now. It's been so long, but he was talking about being on the radio station up there sometimes, and he was from Fort Dodge originally, and he would like play songs about Fort Dodge and record them, and they would play them on the station there sometimes. So it's like kind of fun to have those little local stations around to do things like that with. I mean, kudos to you for doing that. I mean, probably being in high school, that's pretty mind-blowing actually, Well,
I started getting into the scene in high school. I started writing, and that's where the Pain of Evolution name came from. I was like 15 years old in high school.
Oh, wow.
Like, that's how long POE's been around, just in various incarnations.
That's cool.
And when I got the opportunity to do the radio thing, the first thing that was in my mind was I want to do local stuff, And that's all I wanted to do with it, and that's what I did. We didn't have any guidelines that we couldn't play it. I mean, as long as it was clean content, and, followed all the FCC stuff, they didn't care.
That's pretty awesome. I think that's one of the benefits of the podcast is I don't have the FCC looming over my head very much. I don't even really have anybody looming over my head. It's just kind of whatever I put out there goes out there. It's it's pretty crazy, I guess, too. I never really would have thought too much about the FCC restrictions. For some reason, that always blanks my head when I think about being on the radio. Luckily, when I have been on the radio, I haven't slipped up and said anything I shouldn't say. But it's also kind of crazy, like,
you don't think about it.
Yeah, to have the control to do that, and even to make sure that you're not going to put anything on there that's not.
Well, and I can't say that it was always perfect. There was Devil with Cheese had, when they came on the first time, they brought their CD in for me, and they marked on the CD, okay, this song's clean, this one's not. Well, they marked one that wasn't clean as being clean.
Oofda.
So.
Yeah,
I'm playing through a couple of clean songs, talking to him, playing some other stuff, talking to him. Get to the song in question. I can't remember the title off the top of my head, but started up and it's going, and I can't remember the exact way the lyrics go, but it's something to the extent of like, pull my fucking skull through my head or something like that.
Yeah.
And I just went, oh, fade out.
Yeah. Like I don't know how I would handle that at all. I mean, obviously your mics are probably muted, but like it's just like, oh geez, buttons.
As soon as I heard it and they heard it, the look on their face said it all, and I just went okay, and just slid down the mix and slid up another one, hit a different button to play up a different song.
Yep. Next song.
Skip to a different band. Yeah. Just so I could get that fixed, but at least killed off that song, so it wasn't any issue. Like, there's no backlash for it or anything, but it happened.
It does happen though sometimes. I mean, I was on the radio station up in Fort Dodge at like 92.1, and they've got an interview kind of situation like this where they sit down and talk to people, but it's like bookended by a bunch of music, kind of like you did with the local music and stuff like that. A lot of theirs is more keyed towards the Fort Dodge area, but they do pick bands around the area. So if you got any clean tunes, send them up that way. 92.1 The Eagle. I'll point you up Mason's way.
Well, POE doesn't have anything right now, and neither is Full Sequence.
But nothing recorded anyways.
Yeah, nothing recorded. Yeah. But Full Sequence is working on it.
Yep.
We're just haven't landed on where we're going to go, how much we're doing, and all that. But
that is a tougher decision than most people ever will understand.
It really is. We've had people point us this direction, that direction. We've had people come to us going, hey, I got the home studio.
Yep.
People going, oh, don't use this studio or use this studio. And
that's always the worst thing, exactly like you said. If you ask one person, they'll give you one person they think you could use, they'll give you a cost-effective one, and then they'll give you somebody not to use. You go to the next person, and it's like the exact flip-flop of what the first person said, and you're like, who am I supposed to trust here? But it's tough because the crazy thing is almost every single recording I hear, though, I'm just like, this is pretty damn good. Who did this? And it just comes down to, I think, making the ends meet. And that's not easy, though.
No, and I mean, there's a lot of people around that do, the home studio thing, and I'm friends with some of those people, and some I don't know at all, but I've heard their work.
Yeah,
and it's really good.
Yeah.
Because anymore, you don't have to go to a professional studio to record, which is nice because, as being a local band, we don't make a lot of money.
No.
So,
well, it's the thing is, like, it used to take thousands of dollars worth of equipment in order to record anything, and now you can pull it off with like a laptop and then a couple $100 interface and then Google. And it's like it literally takes that. There's free software everywhere to do stuff.
A lot of people doing the pre-programmed electronic drums. You don't even have to record drums half the time anymore if you don't want.
Yeah, and that's another one that seems like the struggle for a drummer. A lot of people are going with that route, but even then, like, you can do. I've seen a lot of people doing electronic drum sets with triggers, and you just do MIDI triggers and then tell it what sounds to make, and it fills it in for you. So,
and the advances with just being able to make those electronic drum kits sound like
real kits,
and having you want it to sound like a Tama. This kit. Here you go, and it sounds like it's a Tama, whatever, or a Pearl or Trick.
And you can even I want it to sound like a Roland synth, percussion sound from the '80s, and you're like, all right, I can make it sound like that too. And
as weird as it is, that's how it's come along now. And I'm kind of old school. I like the idea of everyone, recording on their gear. And, Or, if they have a studio set or whatever, that's fine too. But, I'm not opposed to electronically recording the drums or anything.
Yeah.
I just like the feel of getting the drums all mic'd up and watching the drummer get recorded that way.
Bingo. Yeah, I'm totally with you. I enjoy that so much more. But as everything has come along, one of the things that got me to do this was I joined up with the band Unity, and Sean uses a Kemper rig, which is just like a profiling guitar rig. You can plug it into your computer and you put headphones on and it sounds like you're playing guitar through an amp that's mic'd up and everything. And you can change which amp you want. You can change quote unquote the speaker sounds that are coming through it. You can change which mic you're micing it up with, any of these kind of sounds. So I ended up buying something that was a little less expensive, but it's called an Avid 11 rack, and I used that for a long time to practice. And it was just something easy. You plug it in, you say I want it to sound like whatever, Bogner Ecstasy amp or whatever, and blah, 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 this, that, and the other, and you tune it all in, you put your headphones in, you plug your guitar in, sounds just like it, and you can record with those, and those, based on simplicity alone, are some of, the coolest things ever, because you can just bring, a rack unit with you, and you don't even have to have speakers and things like that on stage anymore if you really don't want to.
Right.
I recently saw Eli Dykstra play live, and I know that he does something like that with. I'm not sure what he uses, but it's on the floor. It's a same thing, but it's a pedal board based system.
Yeah, I've never seen him play live, but I've seen photos and some video clips, and it's a big, a pedal board, like you said.
Yeah,
it does
all the goodies. Yeah, it does everything, and he uses that, and he just plugs it in and sends it all through the monitors, and it works great for him. And that's cool because I love that kind of stuff, simplicity. The older I get, the more I like simplicity, I guess. I'm tired of dragging 4x12s around and things like that. But it's tough to beat that sound, like you said.
Exactly.
I don't know, it just harkens us back to that older time when you had to have a stack and make all the noise and et cetera,
because you didn't have as much stuff to work with to make it.
Yep.
With less gear.
Exactly. Yeah. And oh man, technology coming along.
10 years ago, you could barely get away with using a practice amp mic'd up.
Yep.
You could do it, but it wasn't the same. And now you can take a practice amp, and a lot of them have direct plugins. They can just plug it straight into the PA system, and it's you have a full stack or a half stack right there.
Yep, exactly. It's mind blowing, and it's cool, but it's also kind of robs you of the authenticity of that real thing at the same time.
Yeah, that's kind of why I'm I like it. I like and I like it especially because I'm all about new talent.
Uh-huh.
And you got, I started in high school. and you got high schoolers still trying to start off then.
Mm-hmm.
Now they don't have to try to get these huge rigs and stuff.
Exactly.
They can have practice amps and put something together and try to get out there and get that experience. And I love that.
Yeah.
So, I mean, there's certain things I do love about it. And then there's other things I don't necessarily don't like about it, but I just prefer the old school way.
And, as a vocalist, you have some of those things at your disposal, too. And I'm not trying to just point at anybody like SoundCloud, because that's where I'm hosted. Haha. But no, like SoundCloud, though, that's one for rappers, especially, though, for vocalists, I guess. You could just throw a couple tracks on there, and you never know if it would blow up or not.
Yeah.
And as a vocalist, you could be like, I've got this idea for a thing. Send out your idea to some people that could send you. Well, all right, so I just, this is the worst thing that's ever happened to me, probably recording a podcast. We just did probably 20 minutes, and I didn't record any of it because my batteries went dead, and then I didn't hit record again. So we talked about SoundCloud stuff. We're going to skip through that because right now we're talking about other things. So we're talking about Pain of Evolution, and we went through this awesome tirade of stuff, and I lost all of it because I'm a noob, I guess. But anyways, so Pain of Evolution, you were talking about how you go to shows and you play a little bit more aggressive style, and you yourself are a little bit more aggressive.
Yeah. To basically recap what we were talking about, we unfortunately lost there.
No, it was the best. I'm so mad we lost all of that.
Essentially, I beat the holy hell out of myself at shows with PoE.
Yes.
I've been knocked out. I've been concussed. Not quite broken, but cracked ribs, bruised ribs, broken blood vessels in my eyes. I've bled, all sorts of craziness, and have a big, I guess, stunt, we'll say, in the back pocket for the right time and right place.
Yeah, we had discussed, you try and pull out something a little bit different at every show. I was going to ask you, actually, I never got around to it. Have you ever, stage dove or anything like that? Do anything kind of crazy like that, or is...
Not so much stage dive. I mentioned in the stuff that we lost, the Soulfly show.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Where I ran to the bathroom with the wireless and everything.
Dude, that's super funny. That's another thing. I'm pissed we lost that story. But yeah, we were talking about wireless mics.
Yeah, one of the things I wanted to do with at that show, I didn't end up doing it. There was some sound issues that caused it to where I couldn't do everything I was trying to do.
Uh-huh.
But it was one of those shows where they had that big metal gate thing just in front of the stage.
Okay, so the security could stand between the stage and the gate.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, my plan was to clear a path through some of the people in the crowd and just take a running somersault into it.
Oh, man.
It didn't happen at that show. It's something similar has happened at a different show, but not like the way I wanted it to do. So one day that one will have to be revisited.
So you're pretty much out there professional wrestling yourself.
I am Des Moines Mick Foley.
That's awesome. That's so fun. That's a good moniker, actually. That could stick, actually.
It might. My new name.
I can only see one of your ears. You got the other one?
Yeah, I have.
Okay, you got both ears. Okay.
Missing one of the teeth, though.
One tooth. Oh, holy cow.
That is actually not a show thing, though.
Okay. I was gonna say, dang, if you lost a show and a tooth, that'd be awesome. Well, not awesome. It's not even awesome. You lost a tooth, honestly.
It is what it is.
Yep.
But surprisingly, that's not something that I've lost or had happen at a show.
Yeah.
Despite everything else, but
yeah.
And we were talking about full sequence and difference.
There was big difference between the two.
Yeah, there's none of the violence or aggression,
but
it's more. As a whole, it's very tongue-in-cheek and very snarky. The Rounds Palooza Fest. Tyler Rounds put on and had us full sequence, and Three Finger Betty was on there. I was dressed as Deadpool and making fun of everybody, and making fun of all the other band names.
Yep.
Not because I was actually making fun of any of the bands,
it's just what you were doing.
I was doing the Deadpool shtick.
Yep.
And I was just quoting a bunch of Deadpool jokes from the movies.
Yeah. And dude, and that was funny because I was talking about how I completely forgot you did that. I completely forgot that you were dressed up as Deadpool. I remembered somebody was dressed as something, but I couldn't put my finger on it. And when you mentioned that you were like making fun of the band names, I remember, like, as you were mentioning it all, I remembered every single thing. And it's just like, I wish somebody was recording those shows. It almost makes me wish there was like a live recording of it all, or somebody had like all of Roundspalooza 1 and all of Roundspalooza 2 somewhere up, you know.
I kind of remember the things that I said. I know the Astro Bastards played.
Yeah.
And I know I made a joke about how their band name is a Misfit song title.
Yeah, yeah.
And then Shit Kickers was on there. I can't remember exactly what I said on that one, but I know it's just basically something going like, can I even say their name? Like, is that allowed?
Say it out loud.
Three Finger Betty's was going, wait a minute, I figured out what that picture is for your logo.
Yeah.
You're dirty.
Yeah.
Or something like that. And then...
oh, man.
I feel like I'm forgetting somebody other than Silverbacks.
Yeah, there was...
Space Virus.
Yeah,
the ones who fogged everything up and you couldn't see in there.
And, you know, that's another thing. It was just, like, insanity with that, you know?
Because they were right before us.
Yep.
The best burn of the night, though, for the band stuff was the one I did for Silverbacks. Because they got that song, Bow Bow Dee Ba Dow.
Yep.
And I told them that they were singing it wrong. It's ba with the ba da bang a dang digga ding digga sigga boogie sit up shut the boogie.
That's funny, dude. That's another thing though. Like the Silverbacks, friggin' hilarious. You got to give them a shout out whenever you can. Who makes a song called Bow Bow Dee Ba Dow, and it's good, and it's like there's like no words to the whole thing.
That is the words.
That's so fun. And it fits so good. Like you will go to shows and people will just be yelling Bow Bow Dee Ba Dow, and if you didn't know what was going on, you'd just be like, what are these people yelling for? You know. So, God, yeah, just going out on stage and being able to have fun with being on stage, and you're being the vocalist, the singer, the front man. You have the most range. We were talking about how you have a wireless mic, so you're going to run around and do things like that. You have the ability to, and you have the ability to, I guess, open yourself up and be a little bit more entertaining because there's nothing like strapped to you. And yeah. I mean, I guess a guitarist could get a wireless guitar thing, but it's still not the same.
Well, and that's just it. My guitar player in Full Sequence, he's also one of the guitar players in POE Dakota. Mm-hmm. Uses a wireless.
Yeah.
Our bass player Noah in Full Sequence uses a wireless.
Nice.
Dent, our drummer, obviously can't be wireless because he's a drummer. But we're all wireless. Occasionally they'll use, just do the wired, use the cables. But
yep.
More often than not, we're all wireless. So we all do kind of run around the crowd and climb on stuff and jump off stuff.
Might as well. I mean, it's entertaining, man.
That's always been our thing, is we're here to put on a show
mm-hmm.
and have fun and get people drinking.
Yeah, man. The Fremont shows have always been fun to play. Where else have you guys played? Do you always do Des Moines shows, or do you do shows outside of Des Moines?
Well, we got the Fort Dodge one coming up, so that'll be the first time for Full Sequence in Fort Dodge.
Nice.
We've been playing a lot of shows, though, in Ottumwa.
Oh, cool. Cool.
I have to give a shout out to Eric Garland.
Mm-hmm.
He's our buddy, our connection for that. We met him at the very first Full Sequence show. We played a whole avenue for Heat the Homeless.
Nice.
And his old band, Nightmare Brothers, was on there. And he took an instant liking to us, and we took an instant liking to them. So we started playing together, and then he started booking shows for the Eagles Club in Ottumwa.
Oh, cool.
They do like one Friday a month. They put on rock shows.
That's awesome.
I have to get Three Finger Betty down there one of these shows.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
He had us go down there last year for the first time. I think it was in April. And then we went back this year in April and May, or March and April. We went back-to-back months this year.
That's cool.
Because they actually requested that we come back.
That's awesome, dude. Dude, that's such a good feeling, too.
Oh, yeah, and Ottumwa's great.
Yeah.
They are fun, and they're very sociable.
There's a lot of musicians down in the Ottumwa area, too.
There is, and there's a lot of fans down there that are just dying for music.
Yeah.
Down there, really. I mean, they've got the bands that are from that area, but, they can't necessarily drive up to Des Moines, to see a show at the Hall or Lefties or Vaudeville or whatever.
Yep.
So they need bands going down there, and right now that's one of the best ways to do it is through Eric and at the Eagles Club, and we love it. I know he's already been talking to me about doing another show down there, a pre-Halloween one, actually. Cool. So we're waiting to see how that gets all finalized and everything. But
yeah, I could just imagine you guys on a Halloween show. Either one of your bands on a Halloween show would probably be a blast.
Well, I know. I also just got a date in. I just thought about this for Full Sequence in Des Moines, which will be our first show back in Des Moines since the end of May, I think. Was the last time we played Des Moines. But, I mean, we might end up playing Des Moines before this one, but we're going to do a September 21st, I believe it is. It's a Saturday.
All right.
At the Hall.
Cool.
With, I'm not going to say who yet.
All right,
it's
cool.
a surprise.
That's cool.
But
working something out in September at Hull.
Yeah.
That's awesome, dude. I love going to Hull.
And maybe we can get Three Finger Betty on that show.
Yeah, maybe. You never know.
I know I got at least one opening for sure on that one.
Yeah.
So maybe we can actually play again together, and it'll be about a year after the last time.
Yeah, no kidding. Well, hey, that's just the way it goes, though. I've found that you will run into bands where you're like, man, these guys are awesome, and we're from basically the same town. Our bands are based, but we don't always get booked on the same shows, so you can't always get to go see the same person, twice. So you got to enjoy what you got when it's in front of you. You have to.
Yeah. Well, and that's kind of been. I love the local scene, but my biggest knock on the local scene in Des Moines for the last several years, too many bands play together all the time.
Yeah.
And it's really hard for people to want to go to shows if it's the same bands playing the same venue.
Yep.
All the time.
Yeah.
You got to mix it up.
Yeah. I mean, I'm totally with you, man.
That's why I like shows that, I go back to Valentine's Day Massacre. It was 18 different bands, but I say bands, but there was rappers on there. It was metal, it was punk, it was rock. It was all mixed on different shows, different days. I mean, we had bands like Grossface Killa who are very heavy and guttural screams and everything like that on the same show with POE, which makes sense. Like, a booker would probably go, yeah, this makes sense to metal bands, but like Slide was on there. And Slide's heavy, but not that type of heavy.
Yep.
So like they were on that same show. It's a different sound.
Yeah. It's a whole different fandom, a different set of eyes, a different everything.
Exactly. The Sunday show, we had, Astro Bastards were on there. They're very punk. But we also had Space, who is a female rapper.
Nice, yeah.
And, she killed it. But like right there, you got rap and punk.
Yep.
But we had like the Emblem faction, who are like that, what's the term they use? Gent?
Okay, yep.
Metal.
Yep.
So again, just a huge difference there. Sinister Carney was on the Friday one with Full Sequence. You got alt rock and the horrorcore kind of ICP-ish style rap.
Yep.
Veritas on there.
Yep. Oh yeah, I remember them.
Like it was all over the place.
Yeah.
I like to book shows like that.
And I'm totally with you because it's exactly like you said. If you've got band A, B, and C, and they seem to do like one show a month together almost every single month, and those are most of the shows they do, eventually you're just like, why would I go see band A, B, and C? Because I've seen this this exact same show multiple times. And
that's exactly what I'm saying. It has nothing to do with not liking the bands or anything like that, but it's like if I can see you the second Saturday of January with those same two bands, but then the third week of February you're going to play with those same two, 3 bands again.
Exactly.
Well, I don't have the need or desire to go and see that show because, you know what? Having enough venues around here, that show could be at one place and there's going to be a different show with a different lineup at a different venue. That's the one I'm probably going to go to because it's different. And
yeah, I mean, for the sake of the hypothetical, let's put Three Finger Betty in the slot. Like, if Three Finger Betty plays Hull I'm just like the first Saturday, every Saturday at Hull, we're always there. Let's just say that's the case. And that Saturday rolls around, and your options are Three Finger Betty at the Hull, or any, like, say somebody's at Woolies, like let's say Seether's at Woolies, and you're like, well, I mean, like, it's going to cost more to go to. I mean, for you, you'd obviously choose the Seether.
Oh yeah, no.
But if like name a band at Woolies, and it's like, well, this would be like $30 here, and it's like free to get into Hull. So which one do I want to choose? But bands will still be like, but Three Finger Betty's going to be here next month anyways, so let's just go to this show. So
exactly.
And that's always going to be the perpetuating, constant scenario that people are going to be put up against. And that's not to say, like I said, Three Finger Betty's not playing the first Saturday. That was a hypothetical. It's not a real thing.
Well, and see, but I could make at least the counter argument that, let's say Three Finger Betty was playing every first Saturday of, each month,
mm-hmm.
and then band X is playing Woolies, on tour or whatever. As if the show at Hull
mm-hmm.
is Three Finger Betty, let's say Asher Bastards and Silverbacks one month, but then the next one it's Three Finger Betty with Slide and Veritas.
Yep.
Then I think it's a little trickier for people because maybe not to see Three Finger Betty because again they oh well I'll catch them the next one.
Yep.
But the other bands being there makes it so people might go, well,
yeah.
Now I don't know if I want to pay the $25-$30 to go to this show,
when
or
I could go over here,
go to the free show and spend that $25-$30 drinking.
Yeah, exactly, and it's not $7 drinks or whatever. And this is nothing against like a big venue because and I don't even know how much drinks cost because I don't
never actually gone to a show at Woolies.
Oh man, it's a nice little venue, dude.
I've been in the venue.
Yeah,
I've just never gone to a show.
Oh,
there.
Yeah.
At least not. Well, it was called Woolies.
Yeah.
I guess I should preface that. It used to be called the. Was it 304 Club, 403, something like. It was some combination of numbers. But it was only that for a little bit, and then it shut down and re-emerged as Woolies. So, so I've been to a show there.
Yeah, at the building.
It
wasn't Woolies when you were there. So yeah, I mean, like these kind of scenarios and things like this are things that always rattle around in my head as far as like bands playing shows and whether or not they should play these shows together or. I mean, it's good to get buddy bands, buddy up with a couple bands, but it's also like, you don't want to wear that out either, where it's just like we're always playing together, like Three Finger Betty and Shit Kickers did that for a while. It seemed like about every 3 months we'd play a show together, and now we've balanced it out where John takes half the bookings one way and half of them the other way, depending on who they ask for and what's going on. Like if one band can't, he'll just toss it to the other band and let them see if they can, or like let the promoter decide. And speaking of like weekly or monthly shows at Hull, Dominic sets up those Crazy One Promotions monthly shows at Hull. I'm pretty sure he's still doing those. I mean, he's been doing monthly shows for a long time, and that's a good place to go to a monthly show and see a completely different lineup of bands every single time.
Yes, I can definitely give Dominic and Crazy One props on that. They tend to be different shows every one that he does. Sometimes with bands from out of state even popping up on some of those shows.
Yep.
And speaking of Crazy One, we are the Crazy One Battle of the Bands champions, full sequence.
Nice.
We won by default because everyone else dropped off. But we still won. So,
Crazy One Promotions, Battle of the Bands champions, full sequence.
Yeah.
That's nice.
We won the title of winning by default.
Well, hey, you know what? Win's a win any way you get it, baby.
So, yeah, we're undefeated in Battle of the Band, so that's pretty cool. We're also, I'm going to take this time to officially announce full sequence retirement from Battle of the Bands going forward. We're going out on top.
Oh, man. You got the belt. Just going to hang it above the mantle and call it a day.
Yep.
That's awesome. So let's we gave most of the people in full sequence a shout out. Maybe that was on the part that we forgot I didn't record. So let's give everyone in the bands a shout out while we're still sitting here.
Yeah. Because I'm not sure if that did record or not.
Yeah, I forgot.
Just to be sure. To be sure. So in full sequence, you got myself, of course, on vocals, Dakota on guitar, Noah on bass, and Dent on drums.
Uh-huh.
And then in POE, we have Dent on drums, myself on vocals, Dakota on guitar.
Yep.
So there's a pattern here.
Yep.
Name Redacted on guitar, we're not telling anyone who it is.
Okay.
Like, nobody outside of the band knows who our new guitar player is.
All right, new guitarist.
Yep. We announced back at the Valentine's Day Massacre right afterwards that our previous guitar player, Joe, was stepping away from the band.
Yep.
We got a new guitar player. Be making their debut. I'm not going to say if it's a he or a she.
Ooh,
their debut.
Dang, yo!
At the July 20th show.
That's going to be sick.
But, yeah, we're keeping it a secret. No one knows who it is.
Yep.
And then our bass player, Herb. Yeah. Yeah, so that's a shout out for everyone in both bands.
I'm pretty sure that I don't know if I'm friends with everybody in either one of your bands, but I'm pretty sure it's a Dakota. Is it Stout? Yes. I'm friends with Dakota online. I get to see every now and then he posts some stuff.
Yep, shout out to him. Going to be a daddy.
No kidding.
Yeah.
Oh, congrats, man.
Yeah, he broke the news to us actually the same night that we became the Crazy One Ballad Band's champions.
Sweet.
He let us, all the guys in the band, know. We actually knew before they actually officially announced.
That's cool.
They announced officially on Father's Day.
That's sweet.
Is when they waited to announce that. So
well, that's good. It's good for him. Congrats, man. The bassist in our band is recently told us he's going to be a father, and that's coming up here, I guess, as time goes by. Let's see, your podcast comes out Thursday, a couple weeks, whatever. I don't know. I'm not good at keeping dates, and I don't think he's told me an exact date when she's due. But yeah, same deal, man. It's cool.
I don't remember. I don't think he's given us an exact.
Yeah, but it's not like we need to be like 100% privy to this information. Yeah, we're not going to be there. You know?
No, we're not going to be there. But I know his birthday's like the first of the year, and I know he did say it was going to be around that same time frame.
That's awesome.
So I think in December, maybe. But
cool.
I don't know, obviously, how far along.
Yeah. You weren't there.
Yeah, I wasn't there.
I was not there either.
So, but either way, he gets to celebrate Father's Day next year.
That's cool.
For the first time.
That's
really
sweet.
Awesome.
Well, congrats to him. That's a good deal to hear. You know, it's nice to like finally put faces and conversations and interactions with these people that I've met online. Like you and I at the Rounds of Palooza last year. Didn't interact very much, if almost at all. Probably like a nice passing hi or like good job and stuff like that. But,
at least that.
Yeah.
I can't recall for sure.
I'm known to not be social, so it happens. Go figure. I'm the guy with the podcast, anyways. But like,
well, I just don't recall because with as foggy as it was in there after Space Fire, I don't know who I was talking to half the time.
Oh, that was such a show.
I'm also not convinced that there was anyone in the crowd while we played for the first half of our set because I couldn't see anything.
Oh my gosh, yeah. Well, that was the crazy thing about that Space Fire set was you'd be standing there and all of a sudden someone would walk past you and you literally would see them when they were like 2 feet away. That's how foggy it was.
You got better sight than me because I was standing next to Dakota at one point. I mean,
yeah, shoulder to shoulder.
Basically shoulder to shoulder, and couldn't see him when I turned to look at him and say something to him. But we were, maybe it was just because where we were, because we were up towards the stage area.
Yeah, I was standing right on the side near the door, and it was just like, this is insanity, man.
Yeah, it was so hard to see.
Yeah.
It was fun, but at the same time, it's just like, I don't know where anything is. I don't want to bump into anyone. I don't want to knock anything over.
Yep.
But
dude,
it was a good show overall, though. It was still fun.
I mean, like while it was happening, it was kind of just like shocking, you know. And then when it was all over with, now we got a story to tell. So it's one of those entertainment things, you know, bringing the entertainment in.
Oh, I know. Well, we were setting up. They had the door there to the outside open, trying to waft.
Yeah. Oh, it looked like the building was on fire, man. It was that much smoke was pouring out. It was insanity.
Yeah, I know when we started, it was still so foggy in there. I couldn't see Dent.
Yeah, I don't know.
I turned around because you know, before starting any show, I always go, you ready?
Yep.
I couldn't even see Dent. Like I had to get up right there on his drum kit, you know, to actually see him. Like you hell are you?
Are you back there? Who the hell are you? That's hilarious, dude. Yeah. Hopefully our paths cross on another show here coming up soon. We're really close to getting an hour in here, and I'm super bummed we missed some of that other conversation because that was good. But I feel like we touched up on most of the other stuff.
Yeah, I think we kind of swung back and got it.
Yeah,
it should be all right.
So it's I just want to say thanks for joining the podcast. It's cool to get to know more about you and realize that you were doing what I'm doing right now, but in high school at a radio station. That's pretty wild, dude. So, thanks for everything you're doing, and keep on rocking out there, man. I really appreciate it. Any other shout outs if you want to give them? You got this is your last second to do it.
Obviously, I'll give shout outs to just a couple of local artists that I think people need to be checking out too.
All right.
Outside of Full Sequence and POE. I mentioned Eric Garland. He's got a new band, Dust Till Dawn.
Yeah. Yep. Heard of them.
And then also down in that Ottumwa area, All Guts No Glory.
Oh, heard of them too. Yeah.
And Good Devils, all from that area.
Dude, I did Jonathan Rowell. I did a podcast with him not too long ago. I'm super intrigued by the way he described what's going on there, so I need to go to a show and check them out live.
Yeah, I love those. We've played with Good Devils now twice in Full Sequence down in Ottumwa, and I love those guys. We have fun with them.
That's good. That's good, man.
So you definitely got to shout out that scene down there because it's a booming scene that people don't know is booming.
Yeah, I feel like in late 2018, early 2019, like even Three Finger Betty started getting some offers. Unfortunately, most of them we couldn't, snap up. But it was one of those deals where it's like something's going on down here, and it's known. There's some of the bands are finally starting to make their way into the Des Moines scene and realizing they can find the places where they can play and stuff. It's awesome.
Yeah, and I mean that, and a couple other bands too, like Grossface Killa out of Marshalltown.
Oh, cool!
They played the Massacre this year. They're playing they couldn't do the July 20th show at the POE. We're trying to get them on the September 21st show with Full Sequence.
Nice.
Get them in Des Moines.
Cool.
Another one that's just like nobody really knows them, but they should.
Yeah.
Space, got to give her a shout out again.
Cool.
Because she can rap, she can sing. Her voice is amazing.
That's awesome.
And I expect to see some big things from her. What the hell, Freak 24. Sinister Carney, local rap on that one.
Yeah, dude. Yeah. Like, that's just the thing. Like, you're painting a picture of the scene that is so much bigger than even in 40 episodes I've been able to paint with this podcast. So, like, if you're going to learn anything from this episode, it's that the scene is still so much bigger than how I'm portraying it,
Well, honestly, we might have to do another one with me just so I can just sing the praises of all the different bands around.
Dude,
that people need to know of. I mean, I can sing the praises of the bands that more people do know.
Yep.
But there's so many that people don't know.
Yeah.
And I would love to do that on one of these.
Yeah.
Just sit down and talk about bands that people aren't necessarily aware of.
Yeah, man.
Just to spread that awareness and build everyone up.
Well, that's the thing. That's what it's all about, really, is like giving everyone as much props as you can. And that was like the best part about going to those kind of like weird booked shows where it's like Three Finger Betty's on a bill with like a thrash band and then some like screaming band and like what, and it's like this is weird. But then at the same time, you get to see different styles of music, and you're like, holy crap, these guys are good or whatever. Like. The first time we went and played with TV Cop, they were called Sports Team. They didn't have anything recorded. We had no clue what they sounded like, and they get up there and they start playing, and it was TV Cop now, and
they're playing Hole next week.
Yeah, they had trombone, and it was just like, what's going on here? This is insanity. Like, had I not stuck around and enjoyed this, or like, I would have never known that this existed, and it's one of those things where it's just cool to actually get to see these bands that you never knew. Even if it's just from halfway across the state, like word doesn't travel that well, so it's tough. It's tough to actually get, that exposure across even a handful of even across the interstate, like it's tough. So, I'm all for like giving everybody the props they deserve.
Yeah, we might have to set that up.
Yeah, definitely, man.
And talk just about everyone else.
Yeah, dude. I'm down to do a podcast to just give everybody else a bunch of shade.
Because like TV Cop, I've never seen them. You've played with them. Mm-hmm. So like that's one that's new to me.
Yep.
Like I was thinking about going to that show at Hall next week.
Dude,
they were on. There's a bunch of bands that I don't think I've seen like any of them.
Yeah. John Rowell, the drummer for Good Devils, was the guitarist in that band for a while.
Okay.
So it's I friggin' dig them. They're one of my favorite bands I've found. It's kind of like pop punk, kind of like they used to have like a trombone in the band for a while, so it's kind of like had this ska-ish feel. So, but it's hard to pin them down. It's in that,
and that's good.
That's good, dude.
I like that.
Yeah, it's like you're in high school and you're watching MTV again. It's like one of those type of deals. Or like Fuse TV, I guess would be a better example, because Fuse always had more punk than anything.
Well, yeah.
But yeah, dude, I love the idea of talking. Sit down with you again and talking about more bands. So let's make it happen sometime. Thanks again for joining me, man. I really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, there's another good one. That was a great conversation I had with Gabe. We've been getting a hold of each other back and forth for quite a while, trying to make it happen. Our schedules just didn't quite line up for quite a while, but I'm glad we finally got that one under the belt. Can't wait to sit down with him again and have another conversation, because, man, I just felt like that one could have gone on for a lot longer than it did, and unfortunately there was that chunk in the middle that we missed. But like I said, we doubled back to some of it, and we got it taken care of. But hats off to Gabe. Thank you very much for making some time for me to come in and being a very gracious host. I appreciate it. Thank you very much. I also want to say you can go to www.audiblefarm.com. You can find the links to our Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, everywhere else you can listen to us, everything there. You can like, subscribe, share, retweet, review, everything. Do all the good stuff. Thank you very much to everybody, and thank you to the Iowa Podcast Network for helping us out with the website there. There's also a form there. If you want to be a guest, you can fill out the form. It will send an email to Audible Farm, and we will get that email, and we'll try to make as much. We'll try to make it happen. It's schedules are busy, but we've one a week. We've been doing one a week so far, 41 weeks, and haven't missed a week yet. Believe it or not, it's crazy. So fill out that thing. We'll try and get in touch with everybody. I've done some remote ones, so don't fret if you're from far away and you think the travel's going to be an issue. So. Huge thanks to this week's sponsor. It's Couchtown Coffee. Couchtown Coffee is located right here in Iowa, and they roast your coffee made to order to your specifications. They will send it to your doorstep, and you can start your day off with locally roasted coffee right here in Iowa. If you're not from Iowa, don't fret. You can go to their website. It's www.couchtowncoffee.com. And you can send them a message and find out what kind of coffee they have and order it right there on the website by sending them an email or getting in touch with them via any of the contact info that is on their website. They have a Facebook page as well. All the links to that are down below. So make sure you check out all that stuff and start your day off local with a cup of Couchtown coffee. I'll tell you what, my favorite is probably the Colombian. I like mine dark roasted. I might try a lighter roast next time just to branch out a little bit, because I'll tell you what, if he's going to custom make it for me, I might as well try it all. So thank you very much to Andrew and Couchtown Coffee for everything you are doing for us. We really appreciate it. Thank you very much again to Gabe for joining us on the podcast, and shout out to his bands. You want to check them out live, there are links below to Gabe's bands. It's Full Sequence, and then Pain of Evolution is the other one, which I've never seen, but by the way he described it, I really want to go see it, and unfortunately we lost a chunk of that in the middle, but I've apologized for that enough. Thank you guys very much for listening to this week's episode. There will be another great episode next week. I'm hoping to get into the Two Broke for the Arts Festival Fest this weekend and check out some of their goodies they got going on there. Watch the bands, see the art. I'm hoping to interview some people too, so maybe I'll bring the portable recorder with and do some interviewing. Maybe I'll bring the less portable, slightly portable studio I have in my basement and drag a small handful of things up there and set it up and just invite people over to sit down with me, throw on the headphones and see what they got going on, because I'd love to pick the brains of some of the artists that are in the Des Moines area. So if you're in the Des Moines area this weekend, go check that show out. It's going to be great. It's Two Broke for the Arts Festival Fest 2019. I did a podcast with the host of the show, Kelsey Magnolia, just recently, so just scroll back through some of the older episodes, listen to that one. It's a great one. She's a fun gal. I'll catch you guys next week, where I will have another amazing episode. Thank you guys very much for listening. Thank you once again to our guest, Gabe. Peace.